question was, how many people have reached enlightenment since Buddhism became a religion or a philosophy, and like who were they? Like if they were like monks.
Omar, ani Kuritimbi Zegi Jami number ani Chezuma what level there Buche Chola ani Taringi Sajazin Sovengane ani so Chidarta Bashin ani Kongi Mixe tu Shunje Sola Ranzugi Choda Rikshungi Tola Tuatile and the Negi Tola Kamenang Teboda ani Tu Zumone Tiwa Kang Mamachi Nikola Puna ni Lena and Ranzu Patsu Chogi Koda de To Shirdogi Bezin Tone Tini Tring Zerinde Subaji Chayure and the Tomar Ani Chezuma Kuderi Baji Chola Zerim de la Pevala Kadin Chesney Shuye Ani that Zerim Di Tola Ani Nala Ni Tanda Chezuma Kuderi Baji Chone Tume Nagi Longji Dosnangire Dimanang Kola Menda Kuzun to the PH Ani Di Jula Ni Kongi Arazunang Chedan Devi Chende Dos Injitone Nangire Ani Zochesho Tugu Duzula Pama Tugu Sula Ani Nangshugi Nangshu the Devigone Tiwa Kare Yonatanda Tep the New Pisha and the Tiwa Sue Ani Jugla Tiwa Tilena di Tuzuji Lebdi Ani Didi Kongla Kandishuro Chil and Shuye Ani Tangela Zomeda Kusutu Pishovashi Sushana. Melo Dom Rira Sangye Shindo Nanda Shindo Samundra Sabarana Samaye
성우를 담고 인터스테이션이 다른데 근데 내내들이 그거라고 배 거죠. 아니 담보 도맹아게 론지도이. Hello everyone. I'm really happy to have the chance and the opportunity to speak to everyone today. I will first be giving the Vaitara mantra. Sanje Shodan Soji Chonam La, Chanju Bado Dani Japsuche, Daji Jisonje Besonanje, Dola Penje Sanje Rubasho, Sanje Chodan Soji Chonam La, Chanju Bado Dani Japs, Daji Jisonje Besonanje, Dola Penje Sanje Rubasho, Sanje Chodan Soji Chonam La, Chanju Bado Dani Japsuche, Daji Jisonje Besonanje, Dola Penje Sanje Rubasho, Samjen Tamje Dewa Dan Devi Jodan Demba Juji Donga Dan Donga Jodan Drama. 동안 매배 대화하면 이제 년은 차던단 차에 가능한 내 봐줘르지 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 선생님도 장아찌 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 엄다리 또다리 또리소하 또 점바보에 지단 점바 군도 상부 태양 대신데 대다 군지 제소 다르진 여와 대다 탐제랍도 안타니데 나취 做切学习错了，拿去的拿去的特别一个的兄弟，开全部开始的开始为第几拉不起松松，아니 대拿去 당고 비디 가르치는 개신부를 지내려고 해나 먼저 난체 대배 차이버래 네가 doji tepa de pyogi da pyoge mashe na te ni dato mare inji na la juro dende mambo yore peche nga inji na la juwa dende mambo tanyo yue ina yang inji na la juwa peche te tawa da pyogi na la juwa pyogi na la yuwa peche te tawa pe kora manda re shante kwa de jiwa haram yung mudo kachi na la pyogi di jurdu kapsare inji na la jima chishin jikwa chichan chene jura pe kapo re do. And I was asked to speak about why Buddhism and the Tibetan language is important. And when we think about why Tibetan language is important and then why we need to preserve it, I would say that the Buddhism itself is very vast. There's so much, and there is in many languages too. But the Vajrayana Buddhism, which we practice, it's mostly in Tibetan. Even if you are from Mustang, if you're from Ladakh, if you're from Bhutan, anywhere you're from, the letter we all when we speak it might sound a bit different, but the letters and when we write it's all the same. So then if you don't know Tibetan, it's very hard to actually, I feel it's very hard to understand the actual depth of Buddhism because I have read scriptures in both English and Tibetan, and the depth is not the same, I think. Ani dade me jumzeng ye di chen lama mambo ji jawar muche da komar muche da kono muche mambo yang do kana na sinchan samo tan bu kono yede na pi kachin keche mu yimba de ani da dile ran shi mo chen na che de bu du 가르치는 게 전부 되시는다고 해요. 삼나 나체데 다다 나체데 산제 주는 데게 냐만에 소버레 이나다 냐만에 소버레 전에니 다들 강연 준수 라 rinpoche tung male pen tung male samna te ani nantri chenpo jire sangodo. And Buddhism, I think, it's not just what I think, it is, it can be the cause of end of all suffering. So some might think that Buddha taught Buddhism so many years ago and the sufferings are not relevant today, like it has changed so much in the past 2,000 years that you might think that it's not relevant anymore. But I think the cause of all unhappiness, which Buddha taught about, is the three poisons, and all the suffering it causes the same. So if you think it's not relevant, it's not really the right way to think, because I think it's still very relevant. The Buddha taught it in such a way that it was relevant 2,000 years ago, it's relevant right now, and it will be relevant 2,000 years later too. And since Buddhism itself is so vast, I think if you were to learn, there's no end. There's no end for you to learn. So I think this time I'll just explain in a very simple way for kids to understand. And teaching Tanya Pugu coach to the let out in the Shevina, the Nacheta Tajawashi Jim Sandy Pugu Chinju question the answer in the Shevina, Zo Sumure, Lu Danga Dai, Dunzu Sum delay, Kewa the Chevina, and Diwan Masaya, Susu Kibu Yoya, Mission by Kibu Yoya, they be cabaret. And they do Danga Yisum delay, make it what the channel, and it's also a mighty watchaya, means Susunyamdo Unit, the mighty watchaya, Palmer Pinja, mighty watchaya, then they in the cabaret. very simple way, if I were to explain, I would say that it's mainly divided into three actions: body, speech, and mind. If you were to body, speech, and mind, if you were to behave well, do virtuous actions with all three: body, speech, and mind, it is guaranteed that you will be happy. Your friends and family will also be happy, and your situation itself will be much better. So, body, there's three: no killing, no lying, and no stealing. And lui là, tout ce mieux so je pense imagine pense ani de l'eau là na ta beaucoup la ça te éduquer ton le cheating la sanity ça de dene nga la zun chama tiksu nga cha chene zuma share me bache ani chama na mila gogo ta ya de che me bache tiksu bo de ma share che ani nga cha la na thanda me ke je de ta share de do ke je this the share re tes na azminya ga de ye de ke de share re ina ke je ta cha me ba de ma bo share ba ina de and the speech, it's no lying, and there's four in speech: no lying, no idle talk, no no harsh words, and no trying to create a drift between others. So, and then from the mind, there's napsem nusem lokta. Pejana na chana napsem nusem lokta che. Napsem de mi shembal nerji ken mi shembal tucha ji chona chene samle napsem che. Mane din nusem napsem chana na te mi shembal la yebi chala de susula gwana chene docha le napsem nusem lokta chana na 산지 기초에 lokpartawa 산지 기초에 디 만년에 tawa lokpar sumne 대 sum chana ani yigi mije watende chagyare. And the mind, the main three is malicious thought, and it's quite big words. So if I were to explain, I would say it's having the wrong view, having thoughts of harming others, wishing others to be harmed, and also greed, wanting what others have. So these are the 10 main 10 main actions and non-virtues that will cause unhappiness to everyone, you and your surroundings. So I think that's about it now for the questions, if anyone has.
Okay. Is the rule of no killing, no lying, no stealing always true? Because let's say you're a police officer and a criminal is about to kill 10 people. Is it wrong to kill that criminal even though you're saving 10 other people?
It mostly depends. One thing I forgot to say is that motivation is the most important. If the motivation is correct, if it's just to save the other people, then it's not wrong at all. There's actually a story of Buddha. They say like in another lifetime he was a sailor, and in his boat there were 500 bodhisattvas. They were disguised as merchants. They were merchants, and he was a sailor. And there was another person in this boat. He wanted to actually kill all 500 of those bodhisattvas, and the Buddha, he realized this, and he actually killed the one person who wanted to kill all 500 people. What he thought was not just he didn't kill them for the wrong motivation. He killed them because he thought, I would much rather I myself go to hell. Even if I were to go to hell, I would much rather I myself go to hell rather than he go to hell for killing this many people. So then that's why he killed that one person, and Buddha actually did go to hell. He went for like a second. He just went down and then he came right back up because the motivation was so pure. Even if he didn't kill one person, he didn't go to hell for a long time, just right up and down.
First, thank you for giving up time to make this talk. Nam Chandri. I'm from the Saka Buddhawata. Although it's right there, Jinguka.
Is it a bad act if you accidentally steal something but don't return it back because you lost it?
Like I said before, I think the main thing is motivation. So, did you intend to steal it? Were you thinking of stealing it, or did you just want to borrow it?
You borrowed it, but you lost it.
So you wanted to give it back,
But you lost it.
but you lost it. So I think if you were planning on giving it back but you lost it, then I don't think it's that bad. You lost it, right? So I think you should tell that person that you lost it and that you're sorry. Then I don't think it's that bad.
We came back to stand at here, the same to buy. Someone shingles up, someone shingle. Shinging in the tail down, big itchy mother.
그게 근데 여보도 요만이나 아주 부부라 출라 가오 조야라 가리치고이나
다들 추는 가오스라 데서 스야도지도 말해라. 네 삼나 나 취들데 야구지 베준제 산에 줍는 데 오늘 거대어 쇼소는데 산에 줍는 데게 취디 보고 춘주자는 고도와 민겐자는 고도와데 담보다는 보고 춘주를 내려고 쇼진업 도와지다 아니 베트코란 텔레비서 가는 장바에는 로 베트코란 망보 쇼 장바에는 장사야 되는 요말에 디제는 배 양천부지를 삼고다 된 디제는 삼나 보고 전절에 랍다 야보시는 랍이나 대장 쪼데 라싱이 깨서를 삼고도 대 나라니 아마 나무 가든지 랍단데 내가 타고 춘주인들 벌써 관행을 랍나 그래 디네 관행 랍단데 야보시는 랍나데 룸냠도 랍나 인디케이터라 자타카티얼 나고도 이 자가지기들의 코믹에 써요래. 근데 전에 랍나나 가리 전에 랍나라 저 라싱이 게임을 보고 네 삼는 라싱이 게임 안서는 상고도 룸다 데데기 톤에 여 가리 전에 랍이나 아니 다 캐는 거 파마도 오늘 내가 열에 배나 되게 잘나요 되게 스타일이 이거 말에 이는 다들 제일 앞서다 되게 여러 이는 오늘 저는 무엇인 뭐 이슈 남이지 혼자 가르치기 난 되나다 봐서 니만 런냠도 좀 아니 kunzu ishu te Bible ne chile ani te nami chapang charji lo ani te kola khare samgodo tanda de khare re samgodo chene tiwa chene do che bugodo 좀 she de chigido ani de ne be yago 통서 가지는 남미 kunzu랑 de 좀 가는 나 최대 초가 차네 de be 계신 분에 이나 저대 산지니까 산지 유승원도 들어 아니 뒤에는 데를 저기 쳇구나 배 야고 요소를 상한테 인증민이 유는 뭐 최대진이 되는 시험만에 가문가 주세 시험에는 둘다지는 살지 가문가 주 시험에는 보고도 저는 펜스를 상한테
So, for many religions like Christianity and Islam, they tend to teach like compassion, generosity, and morality. So, from that standpoint, what would you say distinguishes Buddhism from these religions?
I think the main, especially I think in Mahayana, the main thing is the distinction, because we are doing it for the sake of all sentient beings. We are, we promote compassion and kindness and that for to gain merit, to become Buddha, so that we can help all sentient beings. We are not doing this just for ourselves. It may seem like it because it's just ourselves doing it, especially if you like um, recite mantras. It seems like you're doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for yourself so that you can help all sentient beings. That's especially in refuge. That's one of the most important distinctions, and I think that's.
아주 sentient beings 기도와 되게 강제치네 쿠보된 주가 강제치네 안에서 뭐 주고 아주 sentient beings
danyawa dan tondo dan ida samale tene buku tuzala sipa kolo tene dia di shema yama ni ta lela wachine de she jama te senjen tamje na buku chunje shuwe dende ina ta de sipa kolo sama tene shna ko chindo kao maren hadam ina tena ko tamgala tene de tene mit tsangma ta semjen tsangma lashana semjen na chuna yejo budan tsangma res bu kashi buda tona shene seida de je member je de bu chuji kazen yene konzo le soa yore shine damne te lashana.
Who inspires you?
I think there's quite a lot of people that inspire me. There's but I think from a Buddhist point of view, I would say my father, my grandfather, and my mother also. Yeah, but there's many great female Buddhist teachers, especially one Asake Jetsunma Chimetenbinyama. She is you could say role model. Yeah, I aspire to be like her. She was a great master, teaching many more Kempos. She was gave Lamde also, and she was a very renowned Buddhist teacher, very great practitioner also.
Thank you, Jetsunma. Being the first Jetsunma to perform the Purga jump, how was the experience?
It was. I'm very grateful for my grandfather and my father for giving me the opportunity to perform the sacred chant. It's not that other ones before me couldn't do it, it's just that there wasn't a tradition of females doing it. So I'm very honored and very happy that they gave me the opportunity for me to do it. And it was, it's not easy to describe how you feel when you are performing such a sacred charm. It's quite difficult to describe it, I think.
Thank you, Jetsunma.
Hi, my name is Trinley, and I'm from the Muslim community. I was just like wondering why did you decide to become a monk and follow the religion of Buddhism? I'm a nun.
Yeah, Buddhist family, but of course that doesn't automatically make you Buddhist. There are still people who convert, but I think the teachings, ever since I was young, I was taught the teachings of Buddha, and that really stuck with me. I really feel like this is really important for this generation, and I really feel that it will actually help a lot of people. So I think that's why I decided to stay a Buddhist. And becoming a nun, I think I've always wanted to be a nun. Ever since I was young, I became a nun when I was 10, actually, so about 9 years ago. Ever since I was young, I think, even when I was, I think, about his age, when I was about 6, I used to, I actually, in my grandparents' house, I took the goye, I took it and I actually wore it because it's red on the inside. I used to wear it and then pretend I was a nun. Yeah, I think it's something that I've always wanted. wanted to do. I think it also will help a lot of people, especially girls, especially young girls and females. It helps to see a representation, I think.
Thank you.
So, I'm just gonna preface this with saying that, but I know that the core of Buddhism is that we should protect other sentient beings, and so I want to dive more into what is sentience, because people usually associate sentience with consciousness, and so I'm wondering, how does Buddhism define consciousness, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence? Like these machines, like they can think incredibly. Even one won the Nobel Prize in chemistry because of how innovative they are. And so I'm wondering, what are the qualities of consciousness, and what would make AI unconscious or conscious?
For me personally, I think it's the main thing is feeling. I think because AI, it might be able to. Well, I don't know if you can actually call what AI does think, because it doesn't have a brain. It's just running through all the options as a computer, right? It's running through all the options. I think you could describe it as think, because I don't think there's a specific word for it because it's so new. But I think the main reason that it's not sentient is because it doesn't have feelings.
So, would you say the main quality of consciousness would be being able to feel?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Guru Rinpoche, how to introduce them to them, an 8-year-old, how do you make them understand what's Aryatara and Guru Rinpoche?
I think through stories. Stories, I think. Through stories you could explain how Aryatara came into being, and how Guru Rinpoche also came into being, and how everything they do is for all sentient beings. And maybe, and I think, actually, I think this also is an answer to one of your earlier questions. I think this will also make them more interested in Buddhism, because one of the qualities, one of the causes for refuge is faith, and one of the faith is called clear faith. It's when you are, it's when you want to be, when you have faith in the Buddha because you want to be like them, because you see the Buddha's qualities and you want to be like the Buddha, because you want to have those qualities. So I think if you explain through stories and through all the, I think the miracles also, if you explain the miracles and the stories, through the stories, I think it might make the kids interested. Because one of my teachers, actually, the main reason he became a monk, he said, is because he thought that if he became a monk, he could fly. He thought, he thought that if he became a monk, he could automatically fly and go in the, like, inside the earth. So that's why one of the reasons he became a monk, because he was also quite young. So I think through stories, I think will interest the kids, and also you can introduce to various deities through stories.
Anybody who helped you?
Like who taught me? Yeah. Well, I have teachers. Yeah, my mother was my first teacher, so she really introduced me. I would say introduced when I was a kid. Like ever since I was like 6 months old, she would talk to me, even though I didn't really understand anything at 6 months old. She would always talk to me and about Buddhism, and that really helped me a lot. And then, of course, my father and my grandfather, they also one of my main teachers, and I also have Kempos and teachers who teach me about Buddhism.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Right now I'm in Asheta, which means we learn philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, which means that we have a lot of self-study periods. So classes begin at around 7:30, and then till 12, and then from 12 to 2 is a lunch lunch break, and then from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock I study languages, and then 3:30 to 4. Yeah, 3:30 to 4:30 is reteaching. So our Kempo teaches us in the morning, and then he teaches us again the same thing in the afternoon, and we also have some question and answer session. Then after that, we debate actually for 1.5 hours. And so I'm sure you've seen with the yeah, we debate for 1 hour 15 minutes, and then from 6 to 7 we have dinner break, and then we have class from 7. No, not class. We have self-study from 7 to 9 in the night. Yeah. Israel. There are actually quite a few people who are not Buddhist at all, who remember their past lives. They can say in detail about what they remember, and they could remember very detailed about their families from their past lives. People who they've never met, who their family doesn't even know, people from the other side, the opposite side of the world. They could describe in detail the place and everything because they remembered. And even Rinpoche, he remembered his past life. I'm sure you know, I don't know if you know, but how they chose this one, this Rinpoche, the 14th Dalai Lama, is they kept some objects of the 13th Dalai Lama, and they kept some objects of new objects that was not the 13th Dalai Lama's objects, and he could point out which one was his. He went to the ones that were 13th Dalai Lamas. And I actually am a reincarnation of a female teacher from Kolo called Kanto Dalai Lama.
You have to respect your mom. How do you get the food? You have to respect the Buddha. There is a this cancel the this things so this for symbol respect mambu chai this is this go yang this
So the samnatare the plan book the samna shoot things about the ketam to mara in the amma respect the amma mena ne kala country rasa to samnatan to chuna and amma mena kala kala mara. Then this and respect this there, then this and then the chomare me some respect there they so they did it. Interdependence 나고도 네 sem전탐제 파서 지라 직대는데요. 아니 대고는 삼는디 스탄토는데 뒤와도 가시 끝내 대면은 아니 change 메시터로 유와도 가래도 서래도 다나 셈도 전에 삼는데 땅 추나 아니 대 검시에 태도라 삼는다는 검시 아니 산지에 소연이 가래 나와대 뭔데 전에 진샤 영어래 산지에 가르치는 태야 3년 동안 장고를 말았다 안에서 가르치는 지 산지에 소다 지였는데 지금 지금 말에 산지 권한이 소요래 안 디세는 부 취준에 3년 동안다 티와들이 그 취해들이 배 개척을 해서 군주숨 가르래라고이나 산지 최 겐들 숨래 Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Right? Kare sumre? Kare? Kare re?
Kirchesla.
Yeah.
Sangha.
네. 잡수 들어서 Buddha 나는 산에 죽는데 하고 오라. 참여하고 오라. 산에는 술을. Sanji chunten de na Buddha na Kong tanda nganzu nangche de thambo Kong yi sunja re lo dong la ni singe la. Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. He founded it about 2,000 years ago. He was actually an Indian prince. How many knows that he was an Indian prince? Oh, a lot of people. So he was an Indian prince who realized there was no meaning to life because he was in the palace for so long that he didn't know what being sick meant. He didn't know what dying was. He didn't know what growing old was, because his father made sure that he was kept in such a tight circle. He was so surrounded by only beauty that he didn't realize what they all meant. So when he went out and he saw old age, he saw death, he saw sickness, and he realized that there was no point in being alive if you couldn't. That's what he thought. He was actually, I think, if we say now, we could say depressed. He was depressed because he realized that beauty is only temporary. And then he saw an Indian, a Hindu practitioner, and he's never seen one before. So he asked around, and then he realized what it was, and then he himself decided to seek this truth, the meaning of life. He decided to seek the meaning of life. That's why he went out, left his palace, and went into the woods and meditated with almost no food, no water for 6 years. And then he realized that this was not putting yourself through harm and being super extremely hard on your physical body was not worth it. It didn't make any difference. So then he realized that the main thing was how you push yourself mentally and what you think about mentally. Then then he meditated under the Bodhi tree and he became enlightened. So that is Buddha. And Dharma is all the teachings of Buddha and his holy disciples. And the Sangha is not just monks and nuns. In this case, Sangha means Sangha there's also two. This one during refuge, Sangha means bodhisattvas. Sanje the Pajana the Shewe Matama King Sanje de Sanje Che de Sanje Yusumbi Che Sanje the Kongi Jinju Kabuto Sumbi Che de Che Genduna Tau and Jibo Mare Genduna Media the Pecha Chana Jambe and the Konum Saman Media in Gendure Gende Jamdu Chebi Kopso Gendun de Kakadana Jorana Chanju Senpa Konum Sama Gendure Chanju Senpa the Zolan condition it's here Jamdu Kola Shedu Kopso and then Chanju Senpa de Media than Tawa than Sama Yor Tawa and Media Sama Yori Jason Drama than Jambe and Konum Sama Media Rohin and they to do Kopso Gendun to do Kopso Konum Gendun and Tigre.
My question was, when we pass away, we reincarnate into one of the 6 realms. Also, what we do in our present life now, it reflects on what realm we are born into when we pass away and we reincarnate. My question was, do we continue to reincarnate until we reach enlightenment? Also, is there a reason behind why we keep on reincarnating? Thank you.
Yes, we actually do reincarnate until we reach enlightenment. And the reason we reincarnate is because we are it's called the wheel of samsara. It's like a wheel, it keeps on turning because we are still trapped in samsara. Our negative thoughts and the thought of self is what keeps us tethered to samsara. So once you have no thought of self, and then you don't have you realize that self doesn't exist. It's just a word that we just made up, and which is the cause of all like suffering. Once you realize that you are free from samsara, but you will keep on reincarnating because of your wish. Bodhisattvas, after a certain stage, after a certain bodhi, they don't, they're not in samsara anymore, but they do still keep on reincarnating because it is their wish. Their wish is to reincarnate so that they can help sentient beings until they reach Buddhahood. So then they also keep on reincarnating, even if they're not in samsara.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask question in English.
Okay.
Easier for the Tibetan. Sorry. So as we all know that you are the reincarnated Lama of the previous Aryatara, right? And how can you explain a bit about your previous Rinpoche Aryatara Lama, and how do you feel about it? And how she is connected to the present, your grandmother, present of the 41st Circuit Treason.
Okay. So my past life is, her name was Kando Dharma. She was born in Golo Amdo in Tibet. And how she's connected to His Holiness is His Holiness' past life was Apam Tirchet. He was a great master also from Golo, and Dalai Lama was actually his daughter. So, and my grandfather right now is Apam Tirchet's reincarnation. So my past life's father was His Holiness's past life. That's the connection. And a bit more about her, I would say she was a great master, especially during the Cultural Revolution. She helped many great masters, and she helped great masters prolong their life, including Kambachina Pinzo from Seta. She gave teachings, and she was there. I don't know if you guys know, there is objects being hidden by Guru Rinpoche and hidden by inside like mountains and stuff, hidden so that they can be retrieved when the time is right. So that is there, and turn means to take out. So she was already great master who retrieved a lot of those objects.
One more question is, most of us think that Dharma means to renounce like your normal livelihood, and like be far away from earning money, doing all normal things that we do, and be secluded away in mountains or faraway places. But if you can like talk, if that's the right thing as to like practicing Dharma, or what is the essence of like Dharma itself, if you can please make us understand.
Of course, being in a secluded place is very helpful because it is very, we're all still sentient beings. It's very easy for us to get distracted if you live in the city, but it's definitely not like a requirement. You don't have to be in a secluded place to be renounced. One of Buddha's main disciples, one disciple that he said that this is what a real Dharma practitioner should look like. He was actually a merchant. He was a day person with a lot of jewelry. He had a family. He lived in the city. He was a huge merchant actually. But in Buddhism, the main thing is the inside, how you think, how your mind works. So the main thing is to renounce worldly thing from the inside, from the mind. You of renouncing. The reason many go into secluded places is because it's easier. You don't have much distractions if you live in a remote cabin in the mountains. But if you live in the city, there's so many distractions that you get easily distracted. But no, it's definitely not like needed. It would help, but it's not a requirement. No. The main thing is the three poisons, the Chashadatimu, to get rid of the three of them, and also to realize the selflessness thought, to realize that there's no self. When you realize that there's no self, you don't, like, most of your problems you don't have, because, like, for example, if you get jealous, it's because you don't have it. If you realize there's no self, there's no you, so why get jealous about something that doesn't exist? And when you realize that there's no self, you realize that all the objects are just very relative, and that it's all just like made up. It's like a dream. Everything is like a dream. It's all made up. So when you realize that, it's like you wake up from a dream, and you realize that it was just a dream. It's not that important. So I think that was like the main essence.
Most of the adults know here the benefit of reciting mantra, but could you please tell us the benefit of mantra for the kids and simple mantra for the kids, for them to be connected with the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha?
I think it's like a praise for whichever deity you're reciting it for. And you might think that, why do you need to praise the deity? It's not like they won't feel anything else. The deities are not like us. They won't feel happy if you praise them, or feel bad if you say bad stuff about them. Why we praise them is so that we get merit, and so that it benefits us. And also reciting mantras, it's not, of course it's better than not reciting at all, but it's not really helpful if you recite without any motivation, without any thought. You just recite. It doesn't really help that much. It's much better if you do it with the right motivation, and it's very hard for kids to be focused all the time, but it does help if you have a picture in front of you. If you focus on the deity you're reciting the mantra of, and if you focus on that deity, it's much more beneficial. And for the kids, I think Omara Bhajanadi is the best. Omara Bhajanadi and Omare Pemehu. I think most kids already know that.
Earlier you mentioned that your sense of self keeps you trapped in the wheel of samsara. So why should you tie yourself to a culture if it creates that sense of self, or that identity?
So could you repeat that?
Yeah. So earlier you mentioned that the sense of self keeps you trapped in reincarnation or the wheel of samsara. So why should someone tie themselves to a culture, keep their culture, if that creates their identity and that sense of self?
That's also a really good question. I think in Tibetan you say Jikten Choje. It's like keeping your culture is actually a very worldly thing. It is important because the main reason I think it's important is because our culture is very closely tied to Buddhism. That's why I personally think it's important. That's why I think the most important and the best way of keeping culture alive is learning the language so that you can learn Buddhism.
So once you learn Buddhism and you're very literate in the text, is the reason why people go to secluded areas and just pray because they want to reject that culture, reject that sense of self?
I think it's not to reject it, but it's more to find. It's like the sense of no self is always there. It's just that we don't realize it. it's like a cloth covering an object. So they go to the secluded areas so that you can remove the cloth instead of being distracted by other stuff. Right now, the object is right there and it's covered by a cloth, but we have so much other stuff to do that we don't see what's underneath the cloth. 디치야마도 두두 때문에 신 홉카라 나도 진든 내가 더 지체는 홉카라 셈바도 뒷배 영어 듣는데 제지요 말에 데이터 님은 다봐 제대나 님은 다봐 삼또 검도 검도 인증 인증은 뭐 말에 아 정말 내가 편이 이게로 돼 내가 패트가 없어 난가래 검도 잡잖아 축승가 nanga metro do dunia nanta kom dele mi tu dele janga digra ani motor do dang ye we ne langa rang na samne ta shamba keke samne ma ta ne dele kom la ye te kom la na samne tse chig tu samne ta wa te la kom na biora ne ti chene te Teta yanja chene tela yarge drone te gom le de gom ta kom mone te gom de kale jane cheba de cheme le si le de kom badera de kale jab me gom de kapso den je la kale maja ne kom ba charu yare an de jene gom da kom te ti de an de jene gom de kale jane nyama ta kama ngas simba ina 제토에나 제부지다 때는 된게래 그 뭐시 뭐지 니마 타파시네 가면 공제여서 아니 너 주스제라 너 주주들이 보래 이나 너 주스제나 너 니마치 공제들 값서 취지지 한다면 하고 마서서 취배공 공제는 제수 값서 신내는 내 비좀 된지 가는 주주 간다 더 하마고는 취지 직스는 process는 디체네 주주 주름 뭐 사자 맞는 니마 타파도 잡토에는 레고지다 되는 태용을 상호도
especially intended for the parents as also parents here. So as you mentioned before, you got motivated from your parents, grandparents. So can you elaborate or explain a little bit more how your cousin, like your mom and your dad and your dad, bring your attention or motivate you to practice more, like study Buddhism, and so here all the parents they want to bring their kids towards the Buddhism, but we have lack of methods.
I think I know the parents are busy, but the kids really look up to the parents. So if you tell your kids not to show anger, not to like yell and to be kind, but then you turn around and then you yell at somebody, the kids won't really understand. They do what they see. So if the kids see the parents practicing, and even if it's just not really long, if they see the parents practicing and meditating, I think the kids will definitely try to imitate. Even if they don't realize what they're doing, they will try to sit near you and try to copy what you're doing. I think my parents actually helped me in different ways. My mother, she was more like hands-on. She taught me about, she was telling me stories since I was very young, and she introduced me to Buddhism through stories. And my father, I think, he really motivates and inspires me because I see him practicing so much. He's always practicing, even if it's a 5-minute car ride, he's already reciting mantras. He always practices. Even if we try to spend time as a family, he's always reciting mantras. So most of the time when we try to talk to him, we can't because he's doing his shanda, he's reciting mantras. So it's a very big part of my memory is that he's always reciting mantras and he's always practicing. So it really motivates and inspires all three of us, my brothers and my sisters, to be like him and my grandfather and always practice.
So my question is, how does mindfulness help in daily life like the
Mindfulness is actually really helpful because you are mindful of your surroundings. If you are mindful, I think you make much like way less mistakes, and also it will help. It helps keep your emotions also in check, which means you won't like lash out to somebody, or because when you're not mindful, um, your emotions kind of just all like attack you at the same time, and then you get overwhelmed by your emotions and you might lash out or you might do something that you regret, um, especially when it comes to family, because being in a family is not easy, because especially I don't know if you have brothers or sisters, you might lash out to your brothers or sisters, or if you have kids, it's not easy being with kids because there's just still so much that they don't realize. So I think it's definitely helpful. It helps in many ways, being mindful.
Our morals, ethics, and our religion. So does that mean like people who do not follow Buddhism, like for example Muslims or Christians, do they also reincarnate in like the 7 realms, despite like specifically becoming like being Buddhist?
What we believe is that you don't have to be a Buddhist to be reincarnated. You get reincarnated regardless of what religion you follow. As long as you are a sentient being, you get reincarnated. That's what we believe in one of the 6 realms. They don't believe that, so if you try to tell them, they won't believe it. But it's what we believe. We believe that everyone who is sentient, everyone who is a sentient being, even like ants or flies or animals, all of them also reincarnate.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us the importance and the meaning of earning merit? Sonam-san.
Earning merit, it is important because if you don't have merit, it's very hard to come across Buddhism because there's so many sentient beings, and Buddhism is not that like well spread. It's not that common to. It's very rare to be a Buddhist. I think, especially there's so many people in the world, and then the Buddhist population is so small compared to the world population, and then especially. You have to remember that being a sentient beings is not just human beings, it's also all the animals, all the insects you see. There's so many insects. It's like uncountable, you could say. So it's very rare to be a Buddhist, and it is said that if you don't have merit, you can't. If you don't have merit, you will not be fortunate enough to encounter Buddhism, and if you don't encounter Buddhism, you will not be able to be enlightened or be or go out of samsara. So it is very important to accumulate merit. And you might think that you've already encountered Buddhism in this life, but it's not a guarantee that you will encounter it in the next life or that you will even be born as a human. So in this life, it is extremely important to accumulate merit so that you will encounter Buddhism in the next life, especially as a human who is able-bodied.
Another two prayers that you told us to do was Omana Nemo and Omara Presidenti. I was wondering if you could explain the meaning of those two prayers for us to understand it better when we're doing it. Thank you.
Actually, Omara Presidenti and Omana Nemo is actually Sanskrit, so I'm sorry, but I'm not really. I know it is chant and praise for Manjushri and Avalokiteshvara, but I'm not exactly sure what each of the words means. I'm sure you can look it up, but you need to still be careful of the way you get the information from. But sorry, I'm not sure what that means exactly. But if you have the motivation of reciting it, and Manjushri, if you have the motivation of reciting it so that you get good, so that you become smarter, so that you can understand Buddhism better and you can help our sentient beings. That's the motivation that you should carry when you're doing prayers and reciting mantras.
For people like you, how come you like get reincarnated, but then like other people, most other people don't?
Actually, everybody gets reincarnated, so even you are a reincarnation. It's just that you might not remember your past life, and I think that's the only differentiation, and that there's nobody out there really looking for who you might be in this life. But everyone is a reincarnation. Everyone's room, every animal you might see also is a reincarnation. The little ants and the flies and the birds, and they're all reincarnations. They probably were humans in the past life also. That's one of the reasons you should be kind to all animals. You never know who they might have been in the past lives. Actually, one thing we say is everybody has been everybody's mother because we've gone through so many lives that every sentient being has been another sentient being's mother in a past life, regardless of whether it might have been a human or animal. You've all been related in some way in one of your past lives. That's why one of the main reasons you should be kind to all sentient beings, because you might never know. You never know.
My question was, how many people have reached enlightenment since Buddhism became a religion or a philosophy? And like, who were they? Like, if they're like monks or nuns or like the first Buddha?
Buddhism, what we believe is that there's many eons. This time, it's the first Buddha was Lord Buddha, and we believe that all the deities like Aryatara and Manjushri, they are also Buddhas, but in this life, no, not in this life, but this time, they've showed themselves as bodhisattvas and not Buddhas, but there are many Buddhas. I don't know if there's an actual count because there's so many, and also there's actually divided into eons, and we've said that in this eon is like the golden eon because there's so many Buddhas will come in this eon. So after Buddhism finishes, because it will end like in many eons, like millions and millions of years later it might end, and then after a while also Buddhism will come again with another Buddha, and then he again will start Buddhism as a religion. So it's actually been really long since Buddhism was started, but then it has ended again and started again and ended again. So I don't think there's a specific number that I can say that there's been this many Buddhas.
A question. Is there a reason to like why we don't believe in God?
Sure.
Yeah.
we believe in interdependence, which means that everything is interdependent and there's no specific creator, because the earth was not created by somebody or something. It was just interdependence. That's how everything came into being. Because if you do believe in a God, it is quite like, how did the God come into being? It's quite, yeah. So we believe in interdependence and that every thing is dependent on each other. Everything is basically interdependence.
Earlier, you said that when Buddha was a sailor, he killed a man to save the 500 people on board, and you said that for a split second he went to hell. So I was wondering, what determines whether you get reincarnated or you go to heaven or hell?
By your merit or what merit you've accumulated. So if you have so they say if you have anger, then you get reincarnated in hell. Or if you kill people, you get reincarnated in hell. Buddha, he didn't have any anger. That's why he was not in hell for a long time. It was just like a formality. And if you have a lot of greed, you get reincarnated as a hungry ghost. And if you have a lot of ignorance, you get reincarnated as an animal. So it depends on your merit and your behavior.
You mentioned that a lot of like the Buddhas are deities. So why does enlightenment bring like deityhood, and what does deityhood mean in Buddhism? Like, does it mean that like they have supernatural powers, or does it differ from like the interpretation of deityhood in other religions?
Right now, the deities, they are actually Buddhas, but they've given the impression and they've showed themselves as bodhisattvas, which means that they have supernatural powers, but it's not like they get some magical powers, because they've realized that this is all just like a dream. You know, some people when they're sleeping and they dream, when they realize it's a dream, they can actually control it. So I think it's something like that. I think I understand it as something like that. They realize that everything is just like a dream, and that everything is just like made up almost. So then that's why they get to control stuff, not because they like magically get some superpowers like superheroes, but more because they realize that they see it as it truly is, which makes them, it's like writing your own story. Like when you realize that you can write your own story, you can write it however you want. So I think it's something like that. I'm very happy to see so many young kids and young people being interested in Buddhism. And one more thing is that I think it's really important, it's really great what Satya Foundation is doing over here, the brain show, and but one other really important thing is philosophy, I think, Tibetan Buddhist philosophy. So I would really encourage all the young adults to read books and about Buddhism, especially this one book that His Holiness the Dalai Lama always talks about also, the Bodhicharya Avatara. In Tibetan is called Chunju. It's actually the first book we learn when we go in, when we start philosophy. So I would really encourage all the kids who are old enough to read that book. Okay, thank you.
No, it's all about two someone chocolate the pizza you. Adi, some Rinpoche Nibirama.